What's going on, everybody? Welcome to A&R News. We got a couple of topics to get into. I got my friend Chris here. All right, Chris, let's get into it right away. First up is Taika Waititi, Show Me the Money.
Yeah.
So news broke down. You want to you actually listened to the podcast where he spilled the beans.
Sure. Yeah. So this was this is a great podcast, by the way. It's called Smart Lists. It's with three actors: Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett. And they always have actors, directors on. So Taika Waititi was on, and they went over his whole history of films that he made, and it came up that about Thor. So in fact, the funny thing was that he was not a big Marvel fan, comic fan, and even when he thought about Marvel and MCU, he didn't actually even like Thor. He thought he was
that hurts me so much.
He just thought he was, a few things about it. But the question came up about when he got hired for the job, and he basically states that he did it for the money. So I decided I'd listen to this podcast, and I thought, because if you've ever seen an interview with Taika Waititi, he's always joking around. He's a very funny guy. He's done comedies in the past.
He's a great whimsical. Director. He's a goofy guy.
He's a very goofy guy. And even actors on set say that about him all the time, that he's joking. So I wanted to make sure that this wasn't taken out of context and listen to the podcast. And he's pretty genuine in the podcast that he says, I did it for the money, which, if you look at the work that he did before this, he did
Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit. What Do We Do in Shadows? Jojo Rabbit and What We Did in Shadows after Thor. So before Thor, okay. He did do What We Do in Shadows and something called Hunt for the Wilder People. But some pretty television, Flight of the Conchords, which is a pretty funny TV show out of New Zealand. But he did some pretty independent stuff. So this saying that he did Marvel for the money, at first, it makes sense. I'm sure there's a lot of directors that would like that Marvel money. But let's face it, he did a pretty good job with Thor Ragnarok. Not so much with Love and Thunder, but I don't know if that's all his fault. But yeah, so he was pretty genuine in saying that, he did Thor Ragnarok for the money.
I'm looking at the Variety report about this conversation that he had, and he does mention that he did it he had a new second-born kid on the way, and he needed the money, and he took this opportunity. And let's face it, who wouldn't want to take this opportunity? You're going to get loads of money, and you're going to say no to it? That's crazy talk. And you just mentioned that he wasn't a very established director. He was still working his way into Hollywood and building his portfolio, and it's a no-brainer to take that job. And he did do a good job with Ragnarok. There were some issues that I had with it, but overall, it was miles better than The Dark World, right? Thor: The Dark World, which was one of the worst Marvel movies in that first 10 years. So I don't blame him for that, but I got an issue with him right now. This moment is just keep that to yourself. Keep it to yourself. You don't need to tell everybody in the world. Like, I don't know what he's doing. Is he angry that he's no longer part of Marvel, or they don't probably want him back? Like, what was the point of this? You just started making people hate you. For what reason? Right?
Yeah.
And I go back to I just think this guy maybe has a little bit ego now grown inside of him, thinking that he's big shot now. Hollywood's aggressive, man. One day you're the man, the next day you're nothing. They will eat you and spit you out, because if you're not popular, you don't exist.
Well, is it Hollywood or is it the fans? It's really
it could be both, right? It could be both now, especially when you're dealing with a struggling franchise right now, where they're trying to get back on track because they're losing money. After every release of every move, they're just losing tons of money. This is not a good way, and he's not coming back. I don't think he's coming back with Thor 5. I don't think they want him back.
No.
Even Hemsworth has gone on record saying that although I enjoyed filming Love and Thunder, I just thought it was very goofy.
Yeah.
Right. And he's trying to tiptoe the line as well, because he doesn't want to offend people. He's a good guy, but you could tell that he was not happy with the direction the character was going towards. And as a fan of Thor, I read the comic books as a kid. I was livid. I was like, what are you doing? You're taking one of these most iconic characters and you're making him look like a joke.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. So you're right. He's not coming back for Thor 5. And I think I don't know if that was
thank God.
mutual,
Yeah, I don't think it's mutual.
or
I think they send him off in a nice way.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, here's the question for you. Like, so when Taika Waititi says, I didn't really know a lot about Marvel or I wasn't really into it, do you think it makes a difference to have a director that knows or a director that doesn't know? Like, is it better to bring in someone fresh, or is
Here's a
it better to have?
yeah. To answer that question, here's the thing: you have a wealth of people around you in the studio that can help you bring you up to speed. You don't think is it difficult to go hire a comic guy to come and talk to you a few hours a day for a couple of weeks to bring you up to speed about the character and the lore of it all? It's not hard. There's no excuse to say I didn't know about this. You're getting paid to do a job. When is the last time someone got paid to do a job they didn't want to take interest in the job they're doing? Right? You're getting paid to do Thor. You're going to get lots of money. Why can't you just hire somebody to teach you all about the lore so you can do a better job and make a great movie and build on your portfolio so that you can have more jobs? They'll pay you more money. Right? I
Yeah,
don't understand where, I didn't know about it, so I didn't care for it, therefore whatever.
yeah,
That's just like just that's just a loser mentality to me. Right? It's just like an arrogant, I don't care, whatever. I needed the money. And that's what he's coming off right now. To me, I just think that I really like this guy, by the way. I was like, this guy is funny. He's awesome. He's going to do great in Hollywood. And I don't know what happened. Maybe he needs to go get a mental check or something. But it looks like he's just like being, just being spite, just yelling at the world and complaining now.
yeah. Well, in the podcast, it doesn't really come off like that so much. I think he's grateful for his time with Marvel, and I think he appreciates. And I do think he did like get into it a little bit more. It's just beforehand he didn't know a lot about Thor and Marvel and
And
stuff.
that's fine. I mean,
But yeah, but I think he's more along the lines of more of an independent. He's got a new movie out right now, which I don't
yeah.
actually want to see. The Next Goal Wins with
Yeah,
Michael
I don't want to see it
Fassbender.
either. I'll probably
Yeah,
watch it on streaming platform down the road because I
yeah,
do like I am from that area. I was born in the Pacific Islands,
right,
right?
right,
Specifically Fiji. So it is in that realm. Samoa, uh, Tonga, and Fiji. They're all in that area in the Pacific Islands. So it is sort of like it reminds me of back home when I see
right.
some of the sceneries in there because they're all similar. And I don't mind checking that out, but I'm not going to go to the theater for this. This is not a
Yeah.
theater movie for me.
No, it
So.
looks like what was that one with John Candy years ago? Cool Runnings, or there's that sort of feel good
Well,
story that
John
you.
Hamm, speaking of Johns, he did a movie about the Indian cricket players that came to play for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He recruited
Right,
them from India to be pitchers here. It's
right.
on that same level, right?
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah. So yeah, I think Taika Waititi is more like, again, Jojo Rabbit is great. It's like those types of. He
that's
also
his
directed.
wheelhouse. Yeah.
That's his wheelhouse, but he did direct some Mandalorian as well, a couple
Mm-hmm.
episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the
Yeah.
finale of season 1 he did. So I think what? He probably should have done Ragnarok and then probably should have stopped after
Yeah.
that.
Because this
Not
was
done
rinse
Martin.
and repeat again. It doesn't work the
Yeah.
second time around because there are some serious scenes that just came off as jokes at the end. They just threw
Yeah.
one-liners at the end and just like, oh, yeah, she's got this issue. It's life-threatening, but we're gonna throw in a joke at the end here. It
Yeah.
does for people who have families, and there's lots of families out there that have cancer-affected members. That's not funny to them, right? And I
Yeah.
have family members in that year that passed away because of cancer, and I found that disrespectful. I'm like, that's not the time to put a joke in. Do it maybe 10
Yeah.
minutes later, right?
Yeah.
Don't throw a joke in when it's someone is struggling to deal with cancer, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what's up with this guy, man. Like I just think that you should keep these kind of comments to yourself because you don't know what bridges you're burning and what connections you could be losing. And maybe I'm totally wrong here, but I just feel that this kind of stuff, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Before we move on to another subject, a question I wanted to ask you as well is, it's a real, like, when you're a director and you're offered Marvel or Star Wars, there's a lot of pressure there,
Of
like
course.
huge, because of the fan base. Like, there's a whole line of directors that said they'll never do Star Wars, never do Marvel. I mean, these are like the Spielbergs and the, but someone even that surprises me, Kevin Smith, right? Kevin Smith is a huge comic book fan. He made Clerks. He's done all these sort of independent films. He actually has his own YouTube channel where he talks about, Marvel and Star Wars. But he said, I will never direct a Marvel
I
Star
hope he
Wars
never
film.
does, because he ruined He-Man for me.
Right.
He ruined the He-Man Netflix for me. And yeah, you're right though. There is a massive pressure when it comes to these ginormous IPs, right?
Yeah.
This is world-renowned IPs, and you're always gonna have somebody that's not happy. Always. You're never gonna please 100% of the crowd. But your job should be is I've put the work in, I brought in people, like show that you made an effort to do right by the IP, right?
Right.
There's ample opportunity. Like when a Blu-ray gets released, there's a director's cut. There's, extra stuff they add on to the DVD. You can throw in there the effort that you made to learn and make sure you do right by the IP. Even before that, now while we have social media now, you can go on Instagram, you can go on TikTok, you can go on Twitter, show the progress, show the effort put in. I think you'll win a lot of people over. Even if the movie is not that great, you'll win a people a lot over saying you did everything you could to put a good show on, right? And I think that's what people are asking nowadays is, did you do enough to at least try to do right by the core audience?
Right. Yeah, for sure. It's interesting because they're obviously, if Marvel continuing, they're going to start bringing up directors and stuff like that, and I don't know. I could see they're going to try to possibly get more well established. Like I even heard that Garth Edwards, who did Rogue One and recently did The Creator, has now been, they're talking to him about some Marvel stuff. So I just think it's a really scary situation to direct those films.
I would love to see him do some Star Wars.
Yeah,
right.
For
If
sure.
you can bring that live, amazing feel of the creator into Star Wars worlds, ooh, you got something there.
Yeah,
like the visuals, the color grading, all of that. Oh, it looks so good.
Well, he did, right? He did do Rogue One. Garth Edwards. Are you talking about?
Saying, I'm
Taika.
Going further. Yeah.
Oh, I say because Taika Waititi is possibly
he's trying
to do a Star Wars.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that.
But also the last thing on Taika Waititi is he's never gonna be away from Marvel because he's Korg, right? He's the voice of Korg.
Can we just kill him off?
Yeah. He didn't. He did sort of in Love and Thunder. Oh no, he came back. He got destroyed. I don't remember.
Yeah, he fell into pieces.
He's a funny character.
Yeah, and Smeek, is it Smeek, the little warm guy?
Yeah. They're funny for sure.
All right.
What's the second story we were going to talk about?
So we got our Kang Dynasty rumors, specifically writer. So we have the gentleman who left. Michael Waldron is coming in to replace Jeff Loveness, as per IGN and Variety, I believe, wrote this article. He also went on a podcast. It's like everyone wants to spill beans on podcast, right? House of R podcast. He went on there and said Loveness is no longer working with Marvel, and that he has been penned. Michael has been penned to do the next Kang movies. There's two, right? I think this Kang Dynasty, and
it's basically the next two Avengers movies.
Yeah,
basically. So Avengers Kang Dynasty, Avengers Secret Wars. Yes.
Yeah, so he's going to be writing those two. He's also has experience. He's been in the Marvel world. He's done Loki. He's a creator of Loki, and he also wrote for Multiverse of Madness, right?
From yes, he was the writer for Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. So both Multiverse of Madness and Loki were better than average for me. They weren't horrible by any means. I thought there were some of the better stuff they did, not the best stuff. But he's taking over for Jeff, who did Ant-Man, the Quantumania, which I did not like. I thought it was below average. And I'm happy that this guy is taking over for that because the writing was not that great for that movie. So we'll see where this goes, right? I mean, he's not horrible, but you also mentioned before we came on that he also wrote for Rick and Morty.
Yes, season I think it was season 1 he wrote for Rick and Morty. So he's got some comedy chops in there. I'm actually this news surprises me because I'm still surprised that they're actually talking about Kang Dynasty, meaning like I would thought, and maybe they will in the new year. Maybe it'll be changed again because the way we talked about this on Popcorn Chicken, and we've talked about this before, but the way they ended Loki, you don't actually have to go forward with Kang now, right? And because of the actor,
Well, we don't want to
and all
spoil anything.
no, but well,
but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, they could actually shift things around and, like we talked, maybe bring in Doctor Doom and not have Kang. So I'm actually surprised that this announcement came out that this is the new writer for Kang Dynasty, because I thought maybe Kang Dynasty would be evolved into something else.
Or this could all be smoke and mirrors, and he's actually brought in to phase out Kang and put Doctor Doom into the fold, which has been rumored now everywhere as well.
Yeah.
Right. So it is interesting that at this late, I mean, I would think that you would have. See, this is the problem Kevin Feige is having in this new phase. Is it's a mess. There's no clear, plan set in place. He did make announcements over a year ago about the timeline, but it's because people are coming and going, directors are moving, writers are moving. Nothing's been like concrete. Like we had Blade supposed to be almost done now, and we don't know what's going on with that. We're like, is it going to be done? People are leaving, people are coming. It's just a giant mess right now. And I think a large problem has to do with is there's this Disney and Marvel way of doing things, and there's been a change where they're more focused on ideology, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to get into all that, but it seems like there's a fight between writers, directors, and Disney executives on what direction they want to go, and therefore you have people coming and going all the time, and it's really affecting the overall timeline. See what I did there? Timeline of everything they want to push out, because they didn't have that problem with the first 10 years. They set in motion what they wanted to do. They had a clear vision. They had a storyline that connected to another storyline. There was hints after end credits of what's going to happen in the next one. Things were well thought out and planned and set in motion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Here, right now, it just seems like a giant mess.
Yeah. They basically need to take this next year, because 2023 was just so a roller coaster, right? Good project, bad project, good project, bad project. Yeah. They need to take 2024 as a sort of slow it down, reset. Some things will come out. Don't say a lot about it. And then like just totally, reschedule, reformat, just change things around going forward. But they need to slow their horses down.
Pump the brakes. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring out less stuff and just get, like you said, get the mess cleaned up.
Yeah, they need to set forward a clear vision. They need to have the directors, everybody on page and agreed to, and like just plan it out. Like you said, I agree with you. Pump the brakes, take a break. No one's gonna forget you. Relax. It's almost like they're afraid that if we don't pump out 3 or 4 shows and movies every year, they're gonna forget about this whole hero lore. No, they're not gonna forget about you. Relax.
It would actually, if they pump the brakes, the fans will get more and more excited for the next project.
Anticipation is being built up, of course, and that drives people into the theaters, right? When you have, I mean, you don't want to be like 6 years apart or anything like that. Like Avatar was like 10 years apart or more. We don't want that, but what's wrong with taking a year off?
Yeah, exactly.
If it means to get the product improved, then take the year off. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, for sure. Right? Well, we'll see what happens, but I'm sure the other thing is there's going to be, I don't know, they seem to bring out an announcement every other day. So
they want to say, instead of bringing out movies and TV, they're just going to bring out announcements.
Yeah.
He said this or she said this on this podcast. But I hope you guys enjoyed our little news here. We're going to do more of these to bring you guys up to speed on what's going on in all of pop culture. Hit the like button, support us, subscribe if you're new here, and also
tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, I want to hear what you guys think about. Was Taika right or wrong in spilling the beans on all the stuff? And the Kang Dynasty rumors. What did you hear? What do you guys think? Let us know there. and visit us on our social media handle at A&R Universe on Instagram, X, and TikTok, and let us know your thoughts. Say hi to us. Feedback's important. We love it. And if you heard anything else cool that's going on in the pop culture world, let us know. We'll dive into it as well. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.